Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your video on changing customary units. Customary units are the units that the U.S. uses to measure things, and we use, this is mostly measuring weight, and we're going to look at weight, length, and capacity. So your job is that you can convert different units of measure in the customary units, with customary units. So this chart is going to be a nice little conversion chart for you to use and be helpful for you, and you'll have a copy, but definitely might want to write some of these down or go back to them, or even open up to page 298 in the online textbook or on the physical textbook to have this as a reference as we work today. Some vocabulary is unit ratio. Each of the relationships above can be written as a unit ratio. Like a unit rate, a unit ratio is one in which the denominator has a unit of 1. So rate, remember, has two different types of units. A ratio, these things are measuring the same things. Feet and yard both measure distance. Pound and ton measure weight. And quart and gallon measure capacity. So they're a ratio because they're measuring the same type of thing. So notice that the numerator and denominator of each fraction above are equivalent. So equivalent. So their unit ratio is 1. So these are equal to 1. 3 feet is the same as 1 yard. 2,000 pounds is the same as 1 ton. And 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. So what that means is you can multiply by a unit ratio of this type to convert or change. So we'll get to that towards the end of the unit, but unit ratio is going to be helpful as we go on. So we are going to be asked to convert larger units to smaller units, and some key thing to write down would be, and it kind of seems backwards, when we're going from large to small, we're actually multiplying. So large to small, we're multiplying. So for example, when we have 20 feet to inches, we want to know how many inches are in 20 feet. So essentially, we know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. That's something that we know. So we can write that as a unit ratio as 12 inches to 1 foot. So 20 feet is the same as 20 feet times that 12 inches in every 1 foot. Because those feet units then cancel, and all we have left then is 20 times 12, which is the same as 240. So what this means is that 20 feet is the same as or equal to 240 inches. Just converting using what I know. Try this next one. Clarence mixes 1/4 cup of fertilizer with soil before planting each bulb. How many ounces of fertilizer does he use per bulb? So I know that I'm looking at 1/4 cup, and what I know is that 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces, and I know that based on my chart I went back to, so always go reference that. And so I can write this as 1/4 cup. I can find out what this is by doing 8 fluid ounces, doing this unit ratio, same as 1 cup. So the cups cancel, I don't write 2 there. And then I really have, this is 1/4 of 8 left, 8 fluid ounces. Well, I write that over 1, 8 over 4, I'm going to cross cancel or just go 8 over 4 is the same as 2. So what that means is 1/4 of a cup is the same as 2 fluid ounces. So now you try. So we have 36 yards is equal to how many feet? So what I know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So I set this up and do 36 yards times 3 feet is equal to 1 yard times the unit ratio. Those cancel out, those yards. 1 and 1 across, so I just do 3 times 36, which is 108 feet, which is equal to that 36 yards. So 3/4 of a ton is equal to how many pounds? Well, I know that 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. So I'm really doing 3/4 times that unit ratio. Tons are gone. So I'm looking for 3/4 of 2,000 essentially. Well, 4 goes into here once. 4 goes into 2,000 500 times using my multiplication skills. So then I have 3 times 500, which is 1,500 or 1,500 pounds. One more, I'm looking for 1 1/2 quart is equal to how many pints? What I know is that this is the same as 3/2. And I know from my chart, I haven't memorized these, this chart is helpful for me too. 2 pints is the same as 1 quart, that's my unit ratio. So I'm multiplying those together. Quart and quart will be gone. 2 and 2 cancel each other. So I'm really left with 3 over 1. So I'm left with 3 pints is equal to that 1 1/2 quarts. So again, kind of messy, boys and girls, but try your best to use that chart and just write a ratio of what you know. Remember, a unit ratio, they're equal. So the top and the bottom are the same value. They equal 1 with different, they're the same measurement. So now, let's try to go from smaller to larger units. Now we're going to divide. So it seems a little bit backwards, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So when we have 15 quarts into gallons, well, based on my chart, again, I know that 1 gallon, so just in reverse now, is equal to 4 quarts. Okay, so it's really like dividing. So instead, if I would write it as unit ratio, 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon, and I was trying to divide by that, remember from our fractions unit that multiplying by the reciprocal has the same effect. So we're going to be doing that now instead. So I'm just going to flip them around. So I have 15 quarts, and I want to be canceling the quarts. So I'm doing times 1 gallon for every 4 quarts. So quarts go away. So I'm really doing 15 times 1, 1 times 4, and that simplifies to be 4 goes into 15 3 times for 12, with 3 of the 4 remaining, and our unit was gallons. So you can write that as that, or 3 75/100. So multiplying by the reciprocal. So again, I'm going to show some of these maybe differently than you would. I'm kind of going right to that step. So for D, I'm looking at 2,640 feet is equal to how many miles? Well, what I know is that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. So again, as a unit ratio, that would look like this. And I'd be dividing by that. Well, instead of dividing, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. And I'm going to multiply here. So just multiplying by the reciprocal. So writing the 1 on top instead of in the denominator. So then I have 2,640 over 5,280. And the feet are canceled, so I'm left with miles. I don't know what I'm doing. Can't erase that. And so that simplifies then to 1/2. So it's 1/2 of a mile is equal to 2,640 feet. All right, I'm going to put some of these up here and we can go over these ones in class since the board's getting a little bit messy. So you'd set them up. So 5 pints is how many quarts? So that is going to end up to be 2 1/2. For F, it's it's going to be 6 1/4 pounds. For G, 4 3/4. H, 6 pints. I, 1 1/2 feet. And for J, it's going to be 4.8 ounces. So hopefully you tried those before I went over the answers. Not a lot of space on here, but we will make sure to go through those in class. So write down the ones you're really interested in going over. Okay, convert rates. Last little bit here. If you're asked to convert rates, what you're going to do is multiply a unit by its reciprocal. So if a helicopter flies at a rate of 158 miles per 1 hour, how many miles per second is that? So what we can do is we know that 1 hour is equal to 3,600 seconds, because I just do 60 times 60, 60 minutes times 60 seconds each. And then I can cross cancel, ones go away, and I have 158 over 3,600, which simplifies to 4/100ths of a mile every second. All right, give some of these a try. Look at the same type of thing. So K, try them first, please. Swordfish can swim at a rate of 60 miles per hour, so 60 miles, 1 hour. How many feet per hour is that? So I'm trying to change to feet. So I know that there is 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Notice how I'd be dividing by multiply the kind of reciprocal there. So I'm trying to get rid of those miles. So if there's that many feet in 1 mile, I want to know how many feet there are in 60 miles. So I multiply across, and I get 316,800 feet per hour. For L, this says Ava walks at a speed of 7 feet per 1 second. How many feet per hour is that? So I'm trying to figure out, again, I know that there's 3,600 seconds in every 1 hour, so I want to know how many seconds it's going to be. If there's that many seconds in an hour, it's going to take, and 1 second is every 7 feet, we're going to multiply, and we get 25,200 feet per hour. A lot of things there, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure that you have that chart, or just have, you're brave with tomorrow when you're reading questions and you're writing down what you're reading and not trying to do it all in your head, and that you're okay with not knowing what to do, that you really tried to persevere and work through these ones, because they can be a little tricky, but you're going to do your best.